I have a few items. I'm gonna start super basic with my kind of least interesting one. So I used to love collecting boxed games, but specifically, I would like to collect the Japanese ones because I always thought like the N64 art was cooler than than the English ones, essentially. And so I was at a convention, and I found this in box, which is the Star Fox 64 art. And I have to say, this is like probably my favorite Star Fox art by far. So you can see that there. I haven't opened it yet, and I don't really want to open it. So I'm not going to open it to display it, but there's supposed to be a cartridge and like a little manual inside. So I thought that was pretty cool. Kind of my basic one. But I'll get into the more interesting stuff.
You said you
Let's see
never
what else
opened
we
it?
got. I've never opened it,
Oh,
no.
so we don't even know what's in there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming like they could have ripped me off. There could be nothing in there.
Yeah, exactly. There could just be like a
There's no way to
mousetrap or
it.
something. Oh my god.
There might be a
So,
rumble pack inside.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, actually, that's true. Didn't the English version come with a rumble pack?
It did, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, maybe I'll have to open it one day. I'll have to be brave. We'll see. Okay.
Little side note, not to derail, but I
No,
think someone
please.
should do a gaming channel or at least gaming segments on Rumble just called the Rumble Pack.
Oh my god.
That's a good idea.
I like that.
I love that. I love that. That's great. Let's see what else do I have here. Okay, here. This one's a little bit more interesting, I guess. Another N64 game. As you can tell, this was my childhood system. But I went to the same convention, and I met Charles Martinet, and he signed a copy of Mario Kart 64 for me, which I just love this. This is always displayed for me. And what I like about it is he always like writes dear to the person, like princess. So he's like Princess K, like whatever, let's go. And then he put from Charles Martinet. And he always does this little like face as well. I have a poster from him as well, and it's the same deal. So I love this thing. But what's funny is that this copy doesn't really work. I've tried playing this copy, and I can play some races, but some races completely glitch out. So it's a broken copy of Mario Kart 64 that I got signed, which was such an oversight.
Does that increase the value at all?
I don't know. No, I don't think so. For sale, broken cart.
Did Charles Martinet do anything funny? Did he talk in all of his voices? He seems to do like a Rolodex of voices every time he meets somebody as Wario and Mario and everything. Did he do anything like that when you met him?
Yeah, so that was some. So we're in Vancouver, Canada, and so there's like a convention that happens here. And it was pretty small at the time. He ended up going to that convention like when it first kind of started. And there was like a room upstairs, so it pretty much is a comedy club. And there was 2 floors, and downstairs would be like the playroom. So like usually you go to PAX and all that stuff where you just play games and hang out and have drinks and stuff like that. But upstairs was kind of like where the conference type stuff happened. And he was in a room, and he was like, let's just hang out. Like, he didn't have anything planned. It was just like, I'm going to be in here for an hour, and whoever wants to hang out, sure. And this is when they were still only getting like maybe a few hundred people at most coming to this convention. So it was actually pretty quiet. And so somebody came with a bunch of like old school Mario books from when they were kids. And he pretty much read through all the books in the voices. And I thought that was so cool. It's just a small, intimate room, and he's just reading like bedtime stories to us, essentially. And it was super wholesome. So, yeah, it was a good time. I also kind of trolled him because I'm a big Sonic fan, and so my photo with him is me wearing a Sonic hat. I thought it was funny to do that, but
shameful. You broke his heart.
It was so stupid. He probably didn't care. He's probably like, whatever, didn't even notice. I was like, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna wear Sonic hat because Sonic is better than Mario.
That's probably why your cart's broken. He saw that and he's like, "Oh, I'll sign it for you. I'll sign it." But you know what?
Just
And he just took a hammer. Yeah.
He'll start breaking it. Yeah. So no, it was super cool meeting Charles Martinet. And yeah, I haven't seen him in our city at least since, but I know that he still does a lot of stuff. Like I see on Instagram often that people are meeting him, and he's very like cooperative in the sense that he loves the fans, and he'll just like do whatever. He'll sign things, he'll read things, he'll film videos with them and stuff. So yeah, super cool guy. I guess I got a lot at this specific convention because I just realized this one's also from that. But to change gears a little bit, I have a PS2 Shadow the Hedgehog controller in Dome. So I know Shadow the Hedgehog was not a fan favorite for anyone. I love it. I don't care. That's my guilty pleasure game.
I appreciate the edge.
I was into that era of like kind of black sheep games. So like GameCube's my favorite system, right? So like the kind of Mario Sunshine, Wind Waker, all these games that were like different. Pokemon Coliseum was like the edgy Pokemon at the time and all that stuff. So of course I like Shadow the Hedgehog as well because it was edgy and cool. So I got this PS2 controller. And at the same time, actually, I also picked up a Mega Man controller, which I can't find anymore, which sucks. But it's a Mega Man X controller, blue. It's GameCube, and it's super cool. So I'll have to go through our storage one day and see if I can find it. But for some reason, when I bought it, everyone started applauding, and I was very confused. I don't know why.
The Shadow
I was
controller?
just yeah.
Maybe it was like cursed or something, and you like lifted the curse and you inherited it. That's weird. Applauding?
It was the most bizarre thing I've ever witnessed. Like, I'm just at a booth casually, and I was like, yeah, I'll pick up the Shadow controller and the Mega Man because I love both series. I'm like, sure, let's do it. And everyone just turned, and it wasn't like a huge crowd. It was just like maybe 5 or 6 people that I guess were next to me. And they were like, that's so cool. And then they just started clapping. And I was like, am I in a movie? Like, is this a musical? Like, what's going on?
Was it like, you don't have to say the price, but was it like super expensive? Did you drop like $5,000?
Really? No, I mean, inflation is a whole different story now, right? So
Right.
I think it's going to sound cheap in comparison anyways, but I think I spent $100 altogether on both, and they were in better condition than they are now. Like, I've gone through moves and stuff like that, so they kind of gotten scuffed up a bit, but like at the time they were pretty mint. They weren't like sealed or anything, but yeah, it was a very bizarre reaction. I don't know if like it was just like, yay, someone's finally buying something at this convention.
That's so weird. The only time I've seen that was at a convention. I saw a first appearance Spider-Man sell, and that was like they sold it for, I don't know, it was like it was somewhere in the tens of thousands of dollars, and I saw people applauding that guy. But I don't know, maybe you just found the 3 other Shadow the Hedgehog fans, and then everyone else was like, I'll applaud. Sure.
Sure, why not? Just
Over the
like,
Hedgehog
yeah.
fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a weird experience. And what's weirder is I went back the next year and bought like a Virtual Boy in box with like a bunch of games that were rare. No one gave a shit. So for some reason, these controllers were impressive, but that I figured I spent like maybe $500 on it at the time, which was a way bigger purchase. No one cared. So there you go. That's weird. I have 2 more items that I'm going to show off. Let's see what I got here. I've got my Shadow. Let's stick with the theme of Shadow the Hedgehog and go Sonic. This one's a little less rare, I would say. But I have the Sonic Mania collection, of course, because I'm a huge Sonic fan. For those who don't know, this does make the Sega sound. My AirPods might not pick up the sound, but I will try. You can kind of hear it.
I didn't hear it.
I'll film that
You
later.
gotta say
Whatever.
Sega to fill it in.
Sega!
There you go.
Worst case, I actually have one down in my bar.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
exactly. It's like it's not a super rare piece, but I just felt like as a Sonic fan, I had to have it. Like it's just one of those pieces that looks really good, like you said, in a bar or like on your shelf or whatever. So I bought that and I was so happy.
You have
And
the cartridge that it came with?
yes, I have the
Yes.
cartridge as well. And so I've got the cartridge with the ring in there as well. And I actually made the joke to James because when he proposed to me, he just, went on one knee or whatever. But I was like, you should have grabbed the Sonic cartridge and snuck the ring in there. I wouldn't have
And-
even known. He's
And I
like,
would have saved so
"Nothing
much
opens?"
money. And you would have been probably happier. Like, oh my God.
I love the ring. The ring's actually inspired by Arwen. Not that I'm here to show that off to you, but yeah. So that was just a funny story around this too. Is I'm like, you should have just done it. He's like, that thing opens. I'm like, yeah, it opens, and it's got the ring. Super cool.
We got
All right.
Com Antilles and J Raptor fan and DJ Access all watching and enjoying the show. Thank you for watching, guys. We
Yeah,
hope you
hello,
like all the cool
hello.
stuff.
I'm getting myself out of the way because I'm the boring one, and then we're gonna see some really cool shit. Okay, so don't worry, guys. I'm
I
almost done.
look nothing like Rod Flanders.
Yeah, you really don't. That was the most jarring thing ever to me the first time. I was like, who is this person? Because I started watching your podcast. If you want to plug that quickly, feel free.
Oh yeah, so I'm on the Figure Action podcast every Thursday night at 9 o'clock Eastern. We do Transformers, unlicensed third-party stuff for Transformers and everything else. G.I. Joe Classified, Lightning Collection, Todd McFarlane's DC Multiverse, Marvel Legends, Black Series. So anything on this, Storm Collectibles is another big one too, and they're doing some awesome stuff with Mortal Kombat. We talked about the Shiva figure that they're putting out last night, and
Ooh,
that
I
thing
saw
just
that.
looks amazing.
Mm.
So yeah, come check us out. We have a lot of fun. There's memes, there's jokes, and anybody in the Transformers community probably already knows two of my co-hosts, T-Man978 and TM Reviews. They're both pretty prolific Transformers reviewers. So if you're in any of that stuff, or you just want to see something different, come check us out.
Sweet, yeah. So definitely check that out because I mean we're gonna see a little teaser of his stuff today, but he goes in depth on that show. It's super cool. All right, my last item. This one is the Tales of Symphonia Collector's Edition for PS3, which is pretty cool. And it's got like different art on the side, so it's got like the second game there and the first game. What I like about this thing, first of all, usually for like people's favorite animes that are a bit more obscure, which now Tales of Symphonia isn't, but it was at one point, you don't usually get like really cool collectors. But, of course, I got the game with it, you would hope. What else?
Current day and age, that's
I know, right? You got the game with it? So I think with Sonic Mania, actually, you get a digital copy. You don't even get the physical one. Yeah, so I'm happy they at least gave me the game.
There's collector's editions now that come out, like, they're hundreds of dollars and you don't even get the game. You're just getting some stuff, and that's it. You have to buy the game extra.
You'll get
It's insane.
EA
like the
and
helmet or
Ubisoft,
something.
Mhm.
they pioneered that.
Terrible.
Yeah, exactly. Terrible, I know. So yeah, I got in while I was lucky. A little like novel book thing. I think it's got like a bunch of art in it too, but this is the actual novel for the game. And then of course a steelbook, which I guess I shouldn't say of course to that either, because nowadays you don't get steelbooks anymore either.
Yep.
Which is insane because you used to get steelbooks for almost everything.
And now I find that if you do get a steelbook, it's a pre-order bonus at Best Buy.
Yeah, exactly. I noticed that Best Buy out of anybody is always the one that's like, here's a steelbook, and you go to any other like retailer and they're just like, here's your game, you're lucky you got it because we didn't get enough copies for everyone. Thank you.
That's what I'm supposed to say.
Yeah, exactly. The soundtrack, which I've never opened, so I kept that sealed for myself. Oh yeah, this is the art book actually, so some art of the characters that no one cares about except for me. And then there's figures, but I've opened that box, so this is empty now. But essentially, you get the figures in this box, which is super cool too. So yeah, that is my little show and tell of what I've got.